Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Turnin podcast, brought to you by your usual suspects here. We got myself, Mike, and Sean here on the call tonight. So, looking forward to talking and chatting about the league stuff and even some IRL stuff. We'll start with you, Mike. You were absent last week. Unfortunately, you had to witness the Denny Hamlin show at Martinsville. So sorry you had to spend all that money to watch that. But I mean, how was it? Heck yeah. Yeah, that that nine truck wasn't out there, and ironically, we have one of our cleanest races of the season. No, it was no, it was a good race. I literally just had to sit here and think about where it was at. I'm I'm so tired, but yeah, Michigan was a good one to watch. There was a lot of hard racing. I mean, it was really clean for the first 3/4 of the race, and then of course it kind of went downhill a little bit, but that is to be expected with how hard everybody was racing. I mean, the racing definitely picked up there at the end, and of course, when you're racing harder and the gaps are tighter, there's going to be more mistakes, and we saw a little bit of that. But yeah, it was a great finish, a great broadcast. It was just a great race overall to watch, and I think I can't remember if yeah, Sean, you ended up you ended up getting beat up pretty bad. You were up front for majority of the night and ended up getting caught in some trouble. And unfortunately, your night took a little bit of a turn. But yeah, like you said, your teammate gets to win out there in a fantastic finish there on the last lap with him and KT. That was awesome to watch. Yeah, it was definitely fun. It makes it a lot easier when there's action all the way through. When we do a majority of caution laps, it can get a little stagnant and a little stale. But I mean, yeah, it's hard not to get excited when the racing is as tight as it was. And yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Like it wasn't just racing up front. I mean, there was racing literally all throughout the field, whether it was for first or hell, even if it was for last. I mean, there was battles all the way around, and so it just makes it easier to watch. It makes it easier to be entertained and call. And yeah, I'm glad that I got to be a part of it. And yeah, that finish was really stellar. And I know the guys were happy with their results and how things went down. And yeah, man, it was just like I said all around. I think that was one of our best races of the season. And it definitely, like you said, I think it showed on the actual the broadcast. So yeah, I didn't really. I don't remember who I even picked to win that race, but yeah, it was fun. It really was, and it just I did, yep, I did pick Chris, and he unfortunately got caught up in an incident pretty early on that kind of took him out of contention, unfortunately, but it is part of it, and it does happen. And it happened to Chris early on, but he made a pretty decent recovery, I think, and salvaged it, which is good to see. But yeah, Sean, talk to us about kind of the downfall really of your race, because again, you were up front for majority of the night, and then you got caught up in one incident, and then that incident turned to two, turned to three, and it just like you couldn't stay away from the wrecks after that. Heck yeah, baby.
Even though it didn't end well for me, I still had a pretty good time in that race.
I think you end up having like two incidents that you definitely got tagged. It wasn't a spin or anything, but when you got hit, the way you spun it was like identical because I remember having it on in my office. I'm like, oh man, Happy got hit. That sucks. And walked away to go do something. Came back in the office. I was like, did I rewind? Because Happy just got spun in the exact same place again, but then the counter says 20 laps later.
There's a lot of incidents on the backstretch. It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah,
like
didn't see that.
everything happened on the backstretch.
Which is so funny because it's the the straightest part
Straight
of the
away.
track. Yeah.
It's a straight line.
Yeah.
We don't do straight.
Well, you might not, but
Anyway,
anyway.
as soon as I said it, I regretted it.
Anyway, no, yeah, we like I said, we didn't really have a lot of issues really. I mean, again, towards the end of the race, I mean, like Sean said, we had that incident where Grady got in the wall and Travis just made an evasive maneuver, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. Not his fault, obviously, but cautions breed cautions. We talk about it, and that's really a case of what happened. And but like I said too, I mean, that's I think honestly the closest and the hardest racing that we've had all season. So it doesn't surprise me that the caution count went up a little bit there, but it wasn't as egregious as some of the past races we've had where the cautions are just kind of straight up silly. It was all, I mean, legit cautions for cause, and I mean that was good to see, at least that it wasn't just, I mean, chaos really.
And honestly, it was half a race before we got our first caution for cause. Even we went all the way to the end of stage 2 before we got that first caution.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was clean, hard racing all the way through the first half of the race.
Yeah, I wish it would have been cool to get to the green flag pit stops because we still didn't have to do that. But yeah, I mean the first stage for sure, and even like I said, a majority of the second stage even was really clean. But it was, like I said, man, I know I keep saying it, but it was fun to watch, and it was fun to be a part of. And I can imagine it was stressful for some of the guys in the trucks, especially like I know KT wasn't feeling too hot; he was under the weather, and he was running up front. And Sean, you were up there, and I mean, really everybody. It seemed like almost everybody was at the front at some point in the race. It was just a matter of how long, and we kind of saw that happen there. But go ahead and pull up some of the point standings to see kind of where we are at with that. If I go here, so this is what the race for the chase looks like. Let me go ahead and get this fixed up really quick. There we go. And that is actually going to come up here. So yeah, here's your point outlook for where things are in the truck series. Of course, Sean is still at the head of the field right now with 1,291 points. David Meacham making a pretty sizable comeback the last couple weeks. You've got 1,219. He had a solid run at Michigan as well. I think he did end up getting taken out on one of those late lap incidents, but he still had a solid run overall. Of course, Patrick Camburn taking the win, that helped jumped him up. Cornwell, of course, is I guess no longer racing with us, so he's going to continue to drop like a rock. But a good finish for Bryce Tucker as well. He got a podium. Travis George. Wilder. The racing is still close throughout the whole field, and the gap is closing a little bit between first and second. But it's honestly it's jam packed through the rest of the field with where the points lie. So all in all, pretty good kind of performance of how things are stacking up.
60 points between 3rd and 9th, and only another 10 points back to me in 11th. And so it's anybody's chance to get towards the front. Happy's got as the voice cracks, Happy's got a gigantic lead just because of all of those stage points he had. But yeah, Meacham's been pulling him back a little bit. So hopefully he can continue to do so, and we can have a battle here towards the end of the season. Yeah,
Sean keeps getting wrecked out like he's doing. But no, in all seriousness, it really does come down to stage points. I'm not even saying by any stretch of the imagination that Happy hasn't won yet. But with how crucial those stage points are, I think statistically speaking, Sean is the only person that has gotten a stage point for every race and stage. Regardless of how many it is. So it's going to be hard for guys to chip away the gap if that trend continues. But all in all, it's possible. Even if, like I said, if Happy does get caught in an incident in one of the stages, and say he doesn't get a stage point, and someone like Meacham or Camburn, gets 10 points and wins a stage, that's still a 10-point swing, and that's just one stage. There's still another stage and the end of the race that could swing how that turns out. So like you said, it's really kind of anyone's boat at this point. It's still not solidified as of yet, and that's the cool thing about it. We kind of talk about it every week is it's not won yet, and there's a lot of parity throughout the whole chase field, and like I said, right now anybody could catch some momentum here late and walk away with a win. So
Happy, did you get stage points at Talladega?
No, I didn't get a single stage point. I don't.
But you got to win. So
I got to win.
Would you rather have the win?
And then Michigan, I did pretty well in stage points, but then I finished P20. So I haven't been able to put a complete race together since the playoffs or the chase started, actually. So yeah, I have been losing about 10 points on someone every week. Fortunately for me, Meacham didn't do super well in stage points and finish. He could have done much better. I think he got 7th, and I can't remember how many stage points he had, but Camburn did well at stage points, and he got the win. So luckily,
I can't remember, Matt. Whose turn is it this week in our other group chat to take Happy out this week? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that on this group.
I'll text you. Don't worry. I think we got to figure it out.
Copy that.
Yeah, I was going to say something about George. I guess he thought I was on y'all's team or something since he took me out last week.
Yeah, he does have a habit of taking out his teammates, doesn't he? Team orders, I guess.
Which one of you guys blew the motor at Dega? Was it Camburn? That was Patrick. Okay.
Yep. I was like, man, I was so focused on just making sure I didn't make contact with the guy on the inside or outside because we were 3 wide.
Yep.
He's like, as soon as I looked at the engine temps, there it went. God.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on those at the super speed.
I just remember seeing a truck go whoosh backwards.
Well, it's always funny too when you're around it, like if you're within proximity and you just hear and then all of a sudden you hear, and it just, oh, there goes somebody. And
You hear the
luckily-
grenading of the engine.
Yeah. And honestly though, I don't think there was really an incident off of that either. So that was, I mean, congrats. I don't remember there being an incident from that, especially if he was in the middle. Blowing an engine in the middle line is that's usually death
Sketchy.
for a lot of people. So
That could have been
Very
a lot
sketchy.
worse. Absolutely. I just remember sitting there and was like, man, I'm instantly like got a parachute. I don't have any more. Oh, where'd Patrick go? Because all he said on the team, team comms was,
yeah,
Oh
I can
man.
imagine.
I looked up. And I was like,
And all I heard on my team comms is, "Oh, they just lost the motor in the middle." I was like, "Oh, perfect."
Yeah, it's
oh man.
never how you want to go out, but I think it's happened or will happen to all of us at some point. But yeah, now we've got a totally different change of pace. You know, we go from Michigan, multi-groove, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 lanes, a big track that apparently we wreck more on the straightaways and the corners. And then we go to a track like Bristol where you spend more time in the corners than you do on the straightaway, it seems like, and they're fast laps. I mean, even in the trucks, I think we were running, I don't want to sound like an idiot, I want to say low 13s for qualifying and like 14 to 15 race pace in the Cup car. I think
That
sounds right. And the trucks,
close,
honestly,
yeah.
they're not too far off of that. I mean, maybe a second swing one way or another. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we'll have, you know, we're projected to have a lot more cars in the truck series than we did on the in the Cup cars. So that's obviously an obstacle in itself. But Bristol, yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting there at the last great Coliseum. We'll see who can prevail there, and if the pace car will lead the most laps, because I think it's very possible.
And not
Yeah.
only that, at least the straightaways are shorter. We won't have any wrecks as many wrecks on the straightaway. Hopefully,
You'd be surprised because
Hold my beer.
yeah, there's a lot more room to miss the wrecks on the straightaway at Michigan than there is at Bristol, and we couldn't even dodge them
True.
at Michigan. So
true.
yeah, we'll see.
We're looking at 26 accepted right now. That's a lot of
Yeah.
ponies on Bristol.
That's a lot of ponies.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But I mean, how are we feeling? You know, Mike, I'm sure you and your team have done your better practice. So, I mean, obviously
Yep.
I'm not stupid. I know you're not going to give us too much, but how are you and the team feeling about kind of Bristol? I mean, and even if it's not even from a performance standpoint, if it's just from, you know, whether it be enjoyment level or strategy, like how's that going for you?
It's a massive pendulum right now. We're super excited because with team practice, I think Travis said today in the chat that his arms were hurting after last night's practice because he ran 190 laps. I think I did like 240. And we honestly, that was one of probably the most fun practices we've had. Like we were just going. Just go, try things with tires, and I'm not gonna tell you results, but you know, we had a great productive practice that was a lot of fun. But we are all absolutely terrified of Fairgrounds 2.0. So hopefully we don't get that, but I mean it's Bristol, baby. It's a blast as long as you stay green.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
that's
nah,
what I'm worried about.
You talked about it going into the Cup race, about how it's a momentum track and it's a rhythm track. You got to get into a rhythm, Bryce. And you saw that in the Cup series. Once people got into a rhythm, it was fine. Are we going to be able to get into a rhythm with the trucks? That's going to be the real question, and I'm not sure if we will. I mean, I think from the shell shocker side of things, we're concerned about a Nashville 2.0 as well. Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
I just know
Watching
that,
him just-
well, I know that he just scarfed down at least 2 or 3 pieces of pizza, and I can see him like holding it back. The heartburn's already kicking in. And I'm sorry, but and then like you said, the camera just going.
Oh.
It said pictures worth 1,000 words. That one just had one heartburn.
I need my Tums.
I was gonna say good advertisement for Tums. Get Tums on the truck.
Do you feel like this guy? You need
Oh,
to.
hey, whoa,
Now we're
you're gonna break the
zooming.
screen.
Whoa,
You But no, yeah, I definitely, I know what you mean about it. I mean, Bristol being a grueler. I mean, like we talked about when we went there for the Cup Series, I I raced 250 laps on Thursday and then got to turn around and do it right again on Friday. And I mean, all I can say is kudos to the Cup guys that run 500 laps there in real life with G-forces and temperature and sweat and a lot more of a challenge than we have, because that was nuts. But yeah, I mean, rhythm again is the big thing. I will say, like, I feel like the trucks are a little bit easier than the Cup car at Bristol, just because it doesn't feel as fast, even if the speeds are relatively similar. For whatever reason in the trucks, it doesn't feel as fast as it does in the Cup car. But yet again, you got to get the green flag runs for it to really make a difference. But I don't, of course, know what the differences were in the session, but I had done a race in the trucks at Bristol, did a money race a couple months back, and ended up qualifying pole. And man, I think we may have had like a 20 lap. I think we did 80 laps, and I think like a 20 lap run was the most that we did under green. But I stayed on the same set of tires for 80 laps, and you know, it was fine. Just because it was so, you know, it's like the tires didn't even really get up to temp. So, but you know, of course, stages and you know, 25 trucks, I think Mike said it was so far, is a little bit different, of course. And you know, I'm sure session details and weather and fuel and all that come into play too. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch for sure, and definitely a lot of opportunity for chaos. Let's just say that.
Like you said, with the rhythm, I think of I mean, we hope everybody in the league gets as much practice as Shell Shockers and KNW do. That'd be great. But if anybody that's out there hasn't got a lot of seat time and you're not even sure what Bristol's going to be like, I beg you, give it 7 to 10 laps before you try to do anything. Just start that rhythm, start that process, build the heat. Let's just go. It handles so much better. For me, it's like 7 laps is my golden number. I'll tell you that. Once I hit 7 laps, I'm car's grip down. I don't feel the looseness coming off of the turns or anything. I'm good to go. Just need 7. So I implore everybody, just give it a little bit of time at the very beginning, then let's race.
No, for sure. The Cup car felt the same way. You know, it's kind of like the whole thing that we all deal with at qualifying, right? Is qualifying times are usually going to be slower in iRacing anyway on a fixed set. Qualifying times are going to be slower than your race times, just because, you know, that optimal, you know, like Mike said, anywhere honestly between like 4 to, you know, sometimes a stretch 7 laps, you know, that's the optimal time where the tires are up to temp, but they're not really worn in yet, or worn down rather. So yeah, I mean, it's like Mike said, it's just finding that rhythm. I mean, I know you hear it, and anybody that's raced, you know, in anything, you know, obviously to finish first you must finish. I mean, that's obviously that's the golden rule, and you can't win the race on lap 1, but obviously you can lose it on lap 1. So that's the biggest takeaway. And just a little bit of piece of advice from doing 500 laps at Bristol in the last 3 weeks. Be aware. We had a couple of close calls in the Cup Series where the caution was out, but because the track is so small and it's so fast, even if you're the leader and they wreck in the middle of the field, by the time you come back around the track, they could still be sorting everything out. So when that caution flag flies, that doesn't mean obviously just slam on the brakes in front of the whole field, but be ready, because with the amount of cars that we're going to have on track, there is a very likely possibility. Oh, excuse me. Hey, I'm talking about heartburn, and here I go. There's a very likely possibility that just because the yellow flag is out, that doesn't mean they're going to have the accident sorted in front of you. So if there's any advice I could give on that, it would be just, you know, even after the yellow flag flies, just be careful, because there may still be some chaos being ensued.
Be prepared.
Hey Bryce,
back
I had
then.
a message earlier about 10 minutes ago, said they can only hear you.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my
Okay.
headset and my webcam fell off my PC right before we started, and it unplugged, and I think it changed the source, but we got
okay.
Yeah, we got that corrected. So
Yeah, but on Bryce's point, yeah, I almost T-boned Mercado in the session because it's so banked.
yeah,
You can't
see.
Yeah, you can't see the straightaway until you're on it. And then there Mercado was just sideways right there. And yeah, I barely missed him. So yeah, there's gonna be some calamity going on.
I think that's
Hey,
that's the word of our truck series.
It is.
That's what you could have left the sum off of there. There's going to be calamity. It would have been accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just praying for not Nashville 2.0. That's all I'm praying for.
Well,
Fingers crossed that's not what it is.
here's the problem. Nashville Fairgrounds was a short track in Tennessee. Bristol is in fact a short track in Tennessee. So
Yeah.
Nashville also was a track that was in Tennessee, the super speedway that granted it was one of our earlier races, but there was quite a bit of chaos there. So I just don't know if people just aren't good enough to run the tracks here like us Tennessee boys are. But I'll tell you what, it's not trending very good for Bristol. But
I'd say Tennessee is 0 for 2 so far.
Right.
They're going to. There was a lot more room to miss incidents at the fairgrounds too, so there'll probably be a lot more people in the pits and disconnected, I would think, in Bristol.
Yeah,
because that wall isn't too friendly to you.
Oh
But
no,
then,
yeah.
then you can take some damage and be somewhat okay, but you ain't getting any of it repaired.
no,
Yeah, no, I got just a little squirrely, and I hit the inside wall. I mean, flush. I wasn't at an angle. I didn't say I had tire damage. Just said I had damage on the left side. So I was like, okay, I ran. I felt a little squirrely, but I'm like, this has got to be 30 seconds maybe. So I go in the pits. It was like 2 minutes and 33 seconds. I was like, holy crap!
Yeah.
So
They'll
I
take
go
you
in, I
10
had to replay.
cautions. Yeah, they'll take you 10 cautions to
well,
fix.
and if
if you're lucky.
yeah, if you're lucky, and if the truck damage wise reacts anything similar to the cup car, when I had that incident, I want to say with Eugene, I think it was, and I had that damage on the rear end. That was a completely different car, and I think I only technically had, I don't think it was but a minute and some change damage, but I mean the car was snapping loose on entry just from a little bit of rear end damage. Now, of course, I had the PC freeze that got the right front, but I mean I didn't have wheel damage or anything, but I don't know if it was a combination of the two or if it was just one doing so than the other. But I mean, again, I almost was turning right at Bristol at some points until I figured out how to drive with the damage. So that's another thing is, yeah, you know, damage on short tracks all the time doesn't really make that big of a difference. But I feel like Bristol is kind of a little bit of an exception to that just because it is such a high bank that the speeds are higher. You know, you go to a Martinsville, I mean, you might get up to like 100, maybe 110, somewhere in that range ish. I mean, it's been a minute since I've even ran there, but you know, Bristol, you're damn near 120, 130, 140 sometimes if you get a good run
in the corners.
Yeah, and that's in the corner. So, you know, the downforce at this short track is a lot more important than, you know, a New Hampshire or a Martinsville or, you know, whatever. So just be aware if you do have damage that just because it's a short track, it doesn't mean you're safe. There's definitely potential for a different condition of vehicle.
And it feels like the damage, I'm saying it feels like a damage model with any kind of damage to the truck, anything over like a minute and a half, it is just snapping loose. It doesn't matter where the damage is. It could be on the rear, the front, the right, the left. It doesn't matter where it is. It's just you lose so much grip.
The roof in Mike's case, I mean,
the roof that he's kept it on the ground all season, haven't you?
Like
Not all season.
I was like, yeah, not all season.
Have you been flipped over at all this year?
oh yeah.
Which one?
I think it was Nashville.
It was.
It was maybe at Nashville too.
It was the first racer 3. I
was
remember
Daytona.
that.
Yeah, it was
it
Daytona. And I talked with KT about that. We never talked about it on here or anything, and I won't divulge too much. But like, I got called clear, and as soon as I started to move, I talked to KT after, and he was like, "I was letting you down," and I just got a hell of a push from behind at the exact wrong time. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because I was like, man, my light went away telling me I wasn't clear or was clear, so I was good. And then I'm like, what the hell? It's like, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, no, I've left the earth for a little while a couple of times, but I guess that's kind of what I'm known for.
It's Mike Priest, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man. Yeah, I'd like to be having the season he's having right now, minus Daytona though.
Yeah.
I won't get into NASCAR too much. I know Happy gets confused.
Insert the meme where it's the air loading the like. But yeah, no, I mean we'll go ahead. I mean, because yeah, we're running out of time already. Because you know, certified yapper over here that would be me, by the way. Yeah, so Camburn gets the win, passes KT on the last lap for hell of a finish, and I don't think there was a truck that didn't make contact with either a wall or another truck on the last lap of Michigan. We went back and watched it, but all in all, it was a fun one to watch. So yeah, we will jump over to Xfinity. We had Xfinity at Texas. That race went pretty well for me, I guess, and even a lot of other people as well had, I mean, solid runs. Obviously, we were just there a couple weeks ago in the Cup car, and I tried. I mean, I kind of went in with the same game plan as the Cup car because that's really all I had to go off of, and the car actually felt pretty good at Texas. I know there's a few of us that have been pretty critical of this car at some of the 1.5 miles, but at least for me, it felt really good at Texas. So, yeah, I mean, came away with the win. And Sean, you had a good run at Texas there too for a good minute, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to get the results pulled up. There we go. Yeah, so again, I came away with the win, but Kevin Frey had a solid race. I think he got caught up or something, I think, because I remember he went to the back for a little bit, yeah. And I don't know if that was tire or, again, I don't remember what it was, but I think that was Wilder that made contact. I don't know. Frey ended up falling back, but he made his way back up to P2. Anthony Hall came on real strong at the end of the race, and he ended up finishing P3. Mercado, P4, he was always lurking in the background, looking to take advantage of something. Sean, you walk away with P5. Mason and his broken hand finished 6th place, started 6th, finished 6th though, so that's a hell of a performance on a broken hand. Chase, of course, you ended up joining us for that race, and you were able to come away in 7th. You were the final driver that was able to actually finish the race, so kudos to that. The next guy was Wilder, 9 laps down. Meacham was 31 laps down. Kern was 89 laps down, and then Corey Moore was 109. I remember he ended up dipping out pretty early, but I don't blame him. I mean, as the track was a lot easier in that car than I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't easy though by any stretch of the imagination. So
I was surprised at how stable I felt. It would be a little bit loose early in the run, but then once you got past that loose condition and got the tires warmed up, 10 laps, Bryce, you started to feel that plowing sensation especially out of 2, and it just started to you had to utilize that right rear a little bit more and kind of use the brakes to kind of set the car a little bit, and it started to feel pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised with how it felt.
Yeah, I use stage 1 honestly as kind of my test dummy stage, and it luckily it worked out. I ended up in stage 2, like you said, Chase. I wanted to try prioritizing getting the car on the right rear, just because the temp was so heavy on the right front, and I ended up going full tilt for like the first 7-8 laps in the second stage. I mean, qualifying pace, and it had more wear, but I think overall the stint was still faster just because of the gap that I was able to get by going hard those first couple laps. But getting the car on the right rear was really helpful. And the funny thing about it, in the Cup car, 1 and 2 was 1 and 2 in the Cup car was the tire killer. I felt like in the Xfinity car it was kind of 3 and 4 because like you could take it flat out, but as I've said before, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I found that 1 and 2 felt pretty good for me all night. I mean, I still had to put more focus on 1 and 2 than 3 and 4, but 3 and 4, if you were not careful and you didn't get loaded into the corner properly, you were going to have a rough corner. And I noticed that, and I think a lot of people kind of struggle with that on that run there at the end. That's at least what I noticed.
Nice. That's an interesting perspective of that, because I remember from the trucks that 1 and 2 was the murderer of the tires there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Texas is just tricky, man, with the progressive banking and how the corner like really, I mean, it's like a really long, but
Yeah, it feels like it goes on for friggin' ever.
Yeah.
You get into one and it's just like it just keeps going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny, for God's sake.
Are we there yet? But
Pretty
yeah.
much.
It was
Everything's
a fun
bigger
race,
in
though.
Texas, right?
That's what they say. I don't know. Sean, how do you feel about that?
That's a true story.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, it was a good.
Including the BS. It's bigger.
Yes, it is, and the heartburn as well.
Yeah.
Heartburn too. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really though, I mean, uneventful race. I don't know if that's kind of dickish for me to say, but I mean, I don't think we had any cautions apart from the stage. Now, of course, our field size unfortunately has dwindled down, but nonetheless, it was still fun. I know Jose ended up getting a lap led. Sean, you got one led. Chase had a lap led. And didn't you say you don't even remember how? Did you ever figure that out? I don't know if that was you or somebody
No,
else.
that was me. That was me. I don't know how I led
yeah, it
one.
was you. Yeah, I don't.
Had to have been pit stops. That's how I led a lap.
Well,
you
'cause-
all pitted and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna stay out. I got enough fuel to get around one more time. Screw it. I'll go around and lead a lap and just to stick it to you all, say I led a lap as the broadcaster.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Sean said you pit with Jose, right? So I mean, and we only had 11 cars, so I don't think that anybody's box would have been behind pit road. I mean, because Jose, especially, he started 4th, so his box would have been early, so he wouldn't have had to pit before the start finish line. So yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one, but either way, it is road course week for Xfinity and for the Cup car. We've got Watkins Glen at Xfinity next week. Of course, we all know that I am looking forward to that one as well as I'm looking forward to tonight. But that Xfinity car is a beast, man. Yeah, it's fun, but it's one of the. It's funny, man, because like the Cup car and any other really stock car really are so different on the road courses. And the Xfinity car is hard to race on the road course, but it's hard for a completely different reason than the Cup car, and vice versa. So it's going to be cool to see. Sonoma's a track that I love. Watkins Glen is a track that I love, and I'm looking forward to both. So we can use that to hop on into our segue for Cup, because we got about 10 minutes before that session opens, and it is road course. So I know we would like to get some extra practice there on that. The Cup Series was at, where was the Cup Series? It was Bristol as well.
Bristol.
It was, yeah.
Bristol, baby.
Yeah, and Hudson and Frey were class of the field, man. They had the long run speed. I think like guys like me and CD on the short run, we were the guys to beat on the short run, but Frey and Hudson had the better strategy, and they showed it. I mean, that last pit cycle in the final stage proved it. I gained 7 seconds and like 20 laps, and then right when I got about a second away with him, he turned it on and he gained that 7 to 8 seconds right back. So him and Frey did a really, really good job of maintaining their run. And yeah, it was a hell of a race. I mean, again, it was Bristol. It was a grueler for me because, again, two nights of 250 laps back to back. I was dizzy, my shoulders were hurting, and I was really over it. But it was a fun race, and all in all, I think I still ended up getting some stage points. So it was good for me. Happy you had a decent run there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Finished P4.
Yeah. The old fart's finally learning something, huh?
Look at that. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
I can always linger around and get okay positioning. That's about all. Yeah, I was sore after that. 250 laps is a lot. That's a whole lot of corners, and I think I had to adjust my force feedback probably twice during that race. I started out strong, man, like I can do this. So then, yeah, I lowered that. I was able. Yeah, it was probably about 50 laps in, and then probably about another 100 laps in. I was like, yep, I'm gonna have to lower it another number. But
And just think, I used to do this track without power steering.
right.
Oh.
Yeah, I got caught up in a little bit at the beginning there, but then was able to just kind of stay clean after that. So besides those barriers, got those stupid.
Hey, we don't mention that name here.
Oh yeah, no, not that one. No, those
I see what
stupid
you did there.
water-filled trash cans got in my
Yeah,
way.
Yeah,
He had
you
a
play. You
Phoenix
played
moment.
the Phoenix, the Phoenix, the base car. Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Or Kyle, was it Kyle Larson that hit him that one time?
It was last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was fun. It was long, but it was fun.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I was.
Insert joke here. That's what she said.
well, I mean, not if we're talking about Sean here. But,
Yeah, no, it's not.
but no, yeah, it was a fun race. So it was, man. I mean, me and CD had hard battles until we fell off a cliff, and Frey, and I mean, the luck on that guy, or lack thereof at Bristol, I should say. I mean, I knew it would have been close between him and Hudson. I think Frey had the edge. Of course, he got involved in that incident, but like I said, those two long run were class of the field, and I mean, either one of those guys deserved to win that race, and Hudson was able to come away with it. He's been pretty quiet. I mean, just in general, I don't even mean on the track, but hasn't really said too much, hasn't really done too much, but he definitely put us on game after that race at Bristol, and now he's going to be locked into the playoffs, of course, as well, with me and Mercado. So, I mean, get it out the way early. The pressure's off. You're locked in. You just got to get there. Of course, playoff points are still going to be important, but you at least have that stress of knowing you will at least get to the playoffs. And, the difference that we have here in the Cup Series versus the trucks is, we do have the playoff system here in Cup. So, you can have the most stage points and the most playoff points, but if we get 3 winners in a round, all that goes out the window anyway. So, I mean, it's going to be anybody's game. And I mean, again, he had a hell of a run, and props to him for what he was able to do. And again, gets his way, into the points. So, and that moves, I don't know if that did or didn't move the cut line down before. I can try to see. I think I would imagine based on his run, he probably would have been in. The old ones are deleted. But yeah, either way, I mean, that, I guess either he's locked in, so that will shift the cut line up, because that's another driver that can't point their way in. So
I do know that he got a podium at Kansas the week before as well. I was looking at that. So he went back-to-back weeks in the top 3. So a couple of good runs for Hudson. So
yeah, and like I said, I imagine he was probably in playoffs right now with the points, but again, him getting locked in, I mean, that knocks William Kern below the cut line. And he's a guy that I don't think really any of us would have put there, especially at least this early in the season. And, that puts him the cut line. So looking at the graphic here, of course, like I mentioned, Mercado, myself, and Hudson locked into the playoffs. CD is going to be your points leader for those who are not locked in. Behind him is going to be Kevin Frey, Mike Marini, Sean Happick, Bryce Tucker, Hunter Young, Mason Tomlinson, Ray Hanneman, and Colton Lanford right now are in on points. But that cut line, I mean, there's a 4-point spread between the cut line, and then Eugene's only 8 points behind. Tyler's only 13 points behind, and then we have a little bit of jump there, with with Danny being 49 behind the cut line. But still a lot of race left in the play or in the regular season too. So I mean, this board is going to shift at least 5 or 6 times before it's all said and done. So I'm excited for the playoff system. I like that they've done it in NASCAR. I know there's people that are love-hate on it, but it's treated Penske well the last couple of years as well. So I mean, I like it, and I think that added layer of drama, since everybody else is doing it, I think that added layer of drama to the playoffs is just it's cool, man. I mean, again, because you can have the dominant car all season, and we saw it. I'm not even just saying this because it's Logano, but Logano did not have a playoff winning season last season. We all know it. I'm a Logano fan, and I'll admit it, but he won the damn thing, So
Yep.
Since you're bringing Logano up, people are all up in arms. Oh man, Logano's got an average finish rate now of 18th. It's like, this is what he did last year.
Yeah.
He always turns it on for the playoffs. He gets in and he finds a way into the playoffs and turns it on for the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. And of course, I do think there was a little bit of luck that went his way with the roll pool and how that turned out. But in all seriousness, whether you love the guy or you hate the guy, like you said though, come playoff time, I mean, three race wins in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know if it was, I think it was 2 in the playoffs and 3 overall because the All-Star race didn't count, obviously. But nonetheless, I mean, like you said, he did what he needed to do in the playoffs. He gets the win at Vegas to lock him in to the next round. And then, so that's what they bring.
And what's crazy about that, man, is I listen to NASCAR radio on the way up, or damn near all day, every day. But Larry McReynolds gave some Larry McNuggets, and it was actually kind of scary to think about it, that statistically speaking, Logano is further ahead for the season than where he was at this point last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had a rough start to the year.
Yeah, he's had some bad luck.
Think about
what was it? A penalty at Phoenix where he was pretty dominant.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a penalty, even though it was.
I don't know, man. I think the Hendrick fix is in on that one.
You know what? I don't like Logano. But it was a nitpicky call. But if you're consistent with it, then you can't bitch about it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, well, I think there's only one way that the words NASCAR and consistent can be in the same sentence, and it's if there's an N in front of consistent, because we all know that as of late, it's one call is clear cut day, and then it's a Hendrick car. No, we'll let it slide. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
What?
But dude,
the Hendrick guy got suspended. It was the Penske guy who didn't get suspended.
The Hendrick fix is in, man. That's all I'm saying.
We will fight.
We can.
Byron for champion this year.
Nah.
He's deserving. But yeah, no,
get off of NASCAR.
That's it. Yep, we got to change the subject. But
all right, so then here's what we'll do. Chase and Mike, since you guys are not participating tonight, let's get your picks.
Okay, I'll go first.
I'm matching you because I think we both know who we're picking.
Do we?
I've been on road courses with Bryce, so yeah, I'll give the number one trader.
Where are you pointing? Because you're pointing off the screen.
So it was funny because I actually had to look at the broadcast to see.
There you go.
Pointing to you.
What's Bryce?
Yeah. No, I'm taking the 12.
Taking the 12.
I know.
I think pressure. Damn it, dude.
I'm taking the other Bryce.
Okay.
So
that's fair. I forget.
Either way, a Bryce should win.
A Bryce is going to win this race.
That's the plan. But hey, look, I've raced with CD too, and he's not a slouch. So
I think, and not to mention, I think Tucker owes you one. Owes you one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I think out of the other three of us, I think I've known Bryce the longest out of us. Being we both came into iRacing about the same time. But since I've been racing with Bryce, he talks about loving road courses, and he's mentioned Sonoma a lot.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason
that comes around.
There's definitely a reason. Yes, there is. But yeah, dude, I mean, Sonoma's a great track. There's passing opportunities. There's little room for error. So that's going to be, I think, more important than anything really tonight is keeping all 4 tires on the track is going to be key. And I mean, the elevation change, the track temp, I mean, and again, this car's a beast, man, but I'm looking forward to it. I've done some test sessions on fuel, full fuel. I don't ever go the extra mile to make an identical session because I could care less to be bothered. But if the lap times that I'm hearing from others are on the race fuel, I feel pretty good about where I'm going to be on race fuel because I've done fuel. But we'll see. It's a long race. We stacked the field up in the stages here in the upper series, so that's another added layer of chaos, if you will, that we don't get anywhere else. So it could be anybody's race, but it's 7:29. I would like to get out there and get some practice, as I'm sure Happy would too. He's going to be fighting off that heartburn. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in and being a part of the podcast every week. Thanks for, of course, for Matt, Mike, and Sean for hopping on and chit-chatting for an hour or so. And we will see you guys live here in about 10 to 15 minutes with some right turns in the Cup Series. So thanks again.